but you want that experience to be part of the whole your whole time at the restaurant, and it's important, so I'm going to mention it. What's up guys, hope you're all doing well. I'm Chez and this is Chez M0i. Welcome to another restaurant review. So if you watched my last video guys, I took you to the National Gallery in London last week. After the National Gallery, my friends and I went to lunch. So what follows next is I walk to the restaurant we eventually ended up at. Hope you enjoy it and I'll come back and give you my review.
This is my little form. If your card jumps to the top, would you be amazed? Watch this. I'm going to tap the magic stick. I say it loud enough, it stops an audience. Watch. And one card jumps to the top, Archie. For the first time, Archie, what was the card? Two of hearts. Not only is your two of hearts, Archie, jumped to the top, it's turned itself into the four of clubs, Archie. Wasn't that incredible? And the worst bit is at least 6 of you genuinely looked impressed. If you're impressed by that, I'll be honest, you have low standards.
Hope you enjoyed that clip, guys. As you can see, it was a bit of a walk, but it was a nice scenic walk and we enjoyed it. It wasn't, it was a bit overcast, but it wasn't raining, so that was good. We ended up at a restaurant called Steak and Company, and I believe they have I think it's about 3 restaurants in London. I'm not sure, but you can have a look on the internet. And I don't know why they've done this, but they said they've changed their name. They're rebranding from Steak and Co to Steak and Company. It's like, okay, why change? Why change your branding if it's not going to be all that different? Anyway, that's an aside. That's what they've done. Accessibility, that's what I want to talk about first. There are so many restaurants in central London, particularly in Covent Garden, because that's the area called Theatreland. St Martin's Lane is not too far. That's where the concentration of theatres are. So a lot of these restaurants have pre-theatre menus. I don't know whether Steak and Co has one, but we went there at lunchtime. So with regard to accessibility, Covent Garden is not the place to take your car. As I say, we were already in the area, but if you are coming into Covent Garden from home, Tube is the best way to go. You've got Covent Garden Station right slap bang in the centre of Covent Garden. You've got Leicester Square, which is not that far away, maybe I think it's less than 5 minutes walk away. So do not take your car into Covent Garden, guys. It's not worth it. You'll get stressed. I think I've only ever done that once, many years ago, and I said never again. I know in a previous video I said that I like to take my car into London when I'm going to a restaurant, but there's times when I really don't. It's too much stress. Tube, you're not going to have that much stress, provided there's no tube strike, of course. So yeah, accessibility, Tube is great for that. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for accessibility. The only thing I'd say about Covent Garden, as long as I've lived in London, Covent Garden is a place that I used to frequent as a teenager and in my 20s, and that area is still a maze to me. It's like a literal maze. I would need to get my bearing coming out of Covent Garden in order to know where to go next, but that wasn't the case here. We were coming from Trafalgar Square and walking through. The next thing I want to talk about is the restaurant staff and the reception we received. So I would expect the staff to be friendly and courteous. They welcomed us with a smile. Nothing less than I would expect. They weren't mega busy at the time that we entered. They were very attentive, not overly, not coming to bother us all the time. So it wasn't a horrible service. It was a good service. Nothing remarkable, nothing outstanding. So, for the service, was there anything? I think the only thing that I can think of with regard to the service was when it came to the end of the meal and we asked for the bill and they didn't come with the bill. I'll get more into that towards the end of the video. So I'm going to give the service, let me say 7.5 out of 10, just to be conservative. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with the service. It was what I would expect. So I'm just going to give it a 7.5. It wasn't above average. It wasn't below average. It was okay. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the decor and the layout of Steak & Co in Covent Garden. The layout was fine. The restaurant itself is not very big. I don't know how many it seats, but it's not too small and it's not too big. It's great to take friends, it's great to take family. The layout is good for groups. The decor, it wasn't anything to write home about. The decor was fine, it was all right. I kind of panned as much as I could of the decor just to give you an idea of how it was all laid out. Yeah, it was all right. What am I going to give the decor and the layout? It was pleasant enough. It wasn't drab, but it didn't grab you. So again, let me say 7 out of 10 for the decor and the layout. It was okay. So the next thing I want to go on to is Ambiance. Now, as I say, it's a great place, in my opinion, to bring friends or groups, you know, families, kids. We are currently in the middle of Easter holidays, so a lot of kids will be out of school. There were a couple of kids in the restaurant making their normal noise, but it wasn't disruptive. The atmosphere was buzzy, as you would expect in an area like Covent Garden. You know, the atmosphere was great. Even the music, you know, the music didn't stand out to me apart from when they played a Jill Scott track, and that's what caught my ear. So yeah, it kind of put you in the mood to have a good time in that restaurant. It was good that they kind of put that on, because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can feel the vibe in this place. It was really good. Ambiance, I'm gonna give the Ambiance 8 out of 10. Yeah, it was good. So the menu was a good selection, as you could see. I scanned the whole menu, but I cut some bits out because it's like you don't need to see the whole thing. I gave you an idea of what's on the menu. Good selection of starters, mains, sides, light bites, drinks, and desserts. Really great choice. You can see what we all had. My particular dish, I had the pan-fried prawns, and that comes with fresh chili. Now, if you watch my previous restaurant review, I like a bit of spice, but not too much. I knew I was not going to like the fresh chili, so I asked them to take that out, which they did. Wasn't a problem. And what occurred to me afterwards is that I should have asked if they could swap it out for sweet chili, because I wouldn't have minded that. It didn't really occur to me at the time, and I think just to give it a bit of zing to the prawns, sweet chili would have been good, but I didn't think of it at the time. But I thought maybe they could have suggested that. I mean, it's neither here nor there. I enjoyed the prawns. Prawns were cooked to perfection. My potato gratin was great. It wasn't too salty. It was a really good accompaniment to what I had. The pan-fried prawns were a starter, but I asked them to give it to me as a main because I wasn't that hungry. I didn't want a big thing at lunchtime because I knew like later on I might eat when I get home. Yeah, that was a good compliment, those two dishes. Gina had the potted mackerel. She loves onion rings, so she shared her onion rings with us. The wasabi butter with the sourdough bread. I'm not sure. I didn't ask her how it tasted. She said it tasted fine, or what she had. Steve said his dish, I think it was chicken Carolina, tasted fine, but for him there was a lot of it, so he wasn't able to finish it, but he said it was good. So with regard to the food, I want to give that, from my point of view, I mean, I haven't asked the other guys what they actually thought because they didn't know I was going to do a review about this. I'm going to give the food 8 out of 10. Simply because I would have liked an alternative to the fresh chili. That's my only thing. I would have given it a higher score. You know, just simply because of that. So I think next time I go to a restaurant, if I want to swap out one of the elements, I'll ask them if they have an alternative. The drinks, fine. You know, you saw what we had. Fine. Drinks. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to incorporate that into the score of the food. Food and drinks, menu, 8 out of 10. The next thing I want to talk about with you guys are the prices. Now, surprisingly, the prices in this restaurant were, as far as I'm concerned, relatively affordable when you compare it to the restaurants we'd gone into. There are about 4 restaurants we'd gone to previously before ending up at this one. For where those restaurants were situated, there was one or two restaurants which stuck out in my mind. I thought, where you're situated, around the back where you're not going to get that much footfall, your prices are not justified. And they had this air of, not snobbery, it wasn't that, it was just that they thought because they were in that particular area, they weren't even in Covent Garden, guys, they were just on the edge before you even get into Covent Garden. But it was like, oh no, you have to make a reservation. There were empty seats there. I mean, this was around 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. There weren't that many people in there. You know, the 2 restaurants that I'm recalling right now. But yeah, we didn't feel the vibe in there. A couple of others, they were okay, but because it's like in the back, what do I say, back? I don't want to say back passage. I don't want to say that. But you saw where we walked with all that coloured paving. That must be a new area because I had never seen that area before. Admittedly, I had never walked around that area before. I'd never taken that route from Trafalgar Square to Covent Garden. But I used to work in Trafalgar Square and I don't remember that being there. So I think all of that is new. I mean, even Gina and Steve said it looked new to them. And ridiculously, they had an H&M like round that back way. It's like, who's going to go there to an H&M? But that, you know, I digress. Where we ended up was ideal because you didn't have to make a reservation. As you can see, I kind of took a shot where the sign, it says walk-ins welcome. So that was really good. They did ask whether we had a reservation. But when we said no, it's like, yo, you know, come in. You know, is it a table for 3? Yeah, not a problem. They welcomed us. So with regard to the prices now, they were very reasonable for the proximity to Covent Garden itself, which was a surprise because, as I say, the previous restaurants, I'd say they were about 10 to 12% more expensive than the prices at Steak & Co. Maybe because it's a franchise, I'm not sure. And these other restaurants, I think, were independent, but that shouldn't really make any difference. Yeah, so the prices were fine. When we talk about the bill now, I referenced earlier that when we asked for the bill, our waitress didn't, you know, it's almost like she forgot about us. I'm not sure. I don't think it was her being rude. I think she was just a bit distracted by other customers. And I mean, we were looking at the dessert menu because we were deliberating whether to have one or not. We were ready to go, but then because she took so long coming with the bill, when she eventually came over, we said, oh, you know, hold the bill for a minute, let's order some desserts. So we ordered our desserts. And this is another reason why I wanted to give the food an 8 out of 10, because the desserts we had were really good. Steve and I had the apple tart, which was not, the apple wasn't sharp at all, and the pastry, the other elements, they weren't too sweet. So they complemented each other. That was good. Gina enjoyed her chocolate fondant. We only ordered the desserts because the waitress took so long to come with the bill. So I don't know whether it was a tactic of theirs or I don't know. It's fine, you know. So the overall bill, I didn't see the bill, but you know, with regards to the prices, I've kind of calculated. It could have been more or less than £85. But that's what I estimated it to be. So I just want to say thanks to Steve for that. Really generous of you. Thank you. So the final thing I want to talk about, guys, if you've watched my reviews before, you know that this is something that I notice in every restaurant, and it's the toilet facilities. I'm gonna state that where the toilets were situated in this particular restaurant, they're not ideal. They're down a flight of stairs, and when you enter the toilets, I can only speak from the women's point of view, obviously. It's a bit of a tight squeeze. There are only 2 cubicles in there, and the toilets weren't dirty, but they were messy. There was water on the floor. There were tissues. It wasn't tidy. I'm not going to say it was dirty. I'm just going to say it was untidy, and they need to, staff at Steak & Co, if you're watching this video, just get someone to check periodically throughout the day that those toilets are in a good state. I'm going to be honest, guys, as I am in all my reviews. If a member of your party has mobility issues, whether they're disabled or infirm or elderly, a senior member of your party, unfortunately this restaurant is not for you, because the access to the toilets is going to be hazardous. When I do these reviews, I'm not trying to badmouth the restaurant or take away business from the restaurant. The reason I do reviews is because when I'm when I want to go out, when I want to see what other people thought, I want an honest opinion covering all the various aspects. So this is the reason why I'm talking about the toilets. It seems really crazy because you don't go to the restaurant to survey the toilets. You know, I don't. But that's something that, especially if you're in central London and you're making your way home, you want to use the facilities before you go, just so that you're comfortable on the way home. It's common sense. But you want that experience to be part of the whole, your whole time at the restaurant, and it's important. So I'm going to mention it. So yeah, toilets, no. Toilets, I'm going to give the toilets a 3.5 out of 10 because of where they're situated, down a flight of stairs, and the size, they're not big enough. You couldn't even if you managed to get a wheelchair down there, which would be impossible, guys, you would not be able to get the wheelchair through the door. And someone needs to correct me if I'm wrong, but I did not see a disabled toilet facility in that establishment. Okay, I didn't see that. So if someone wants to correct me, feel free. Toilets 3.5 out of 10, I'm sorry to say. With regard to the overall experience at Steak & Co, all things considered, I can't give it more than a 7.2 out of 10, guys. It's not bad, but there is a great deal of room for improvement. That's what I would say with regard to that. So yeah, Steak & Co. Yeah, I think I would have been disappointed if we had to make a reservation. And I think I am being fair and giving it a 7.2 because although it was a walk-in booking, well, not a booking, just because we walked in, everything was fine. The toilet facilities actually let it down, and that's why I can only give it a 7.2. So yeah, guys, this is just my opinion. It doesn't even represent Gina or Steve's opinion. This is purely my opinion. You know, take it or leave it. It's entirely up to you, but this is my honest review. I hope you enjoyed it. As I wrap up this video, if you did like it, give it a thumbs up. LSM for me. I hope you enjoy your week, guys. Hope you have a great Easter. Take it easy, and you'll catch me in the next video.